Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. I've always been a bargain hunter. You know the type. Always scrolling through Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, estate sales, looking for that one incredible deal. Some people play video games. Some people watch sports. I dig through junk, hoping to find treasure. That's how I found the couch. The ad was simple. Moving out. Need this gone ASAP. First come, first served. The couch in the picture wasn't bad. A little worn, sure, but it had that cozy, lived-in look. The kind of couch you could sink into, take a nap, watch a movie, maybe even fall asleep with a beer on your chest and a game playing in the background. The best part? It was free. I messaged the seller, a guy named Mark. He got back to me fast. Yeah, it's still available. If you can pick it up tonight, it's yours. That should have been the first red flag. Nobody lets good furniture sit on Craigslist for more than 5 minutes before it's snatched up, and this ad had been up for a whole day. But I was too excited to think much about it. I grabbed my keys, hopped in my truck, and punched in the address. The drive took me to the outskirts of town, where streetlights got fewer and fewer until they disappeared entirely. I double-checked the GPS, thinking maybe I'd entered the wrong address. No, the house was wrong. Not haunted house wrong. No boarded up windows. No crumbling walls. Just off. It was one of those places that seemed like it hadn't been lived in for a long time, but hadn't been abandoned either. The front yard was overgrown, weeds snaking up through cracks in the driveway. The porch light flickered like a bug zapper on its last breath. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Still nothing. I pulled out my phone and sent a quick message. I'm here for the couch. A minute later, the door creaked open. Mark stood there, framed in dim yellow light. He was tall, too tall, lanky, with a thin frame that made his sweatpants and hoodie look 2 sizes too big. The hood was up, casting most of his face in shadow. But I could see his eyes, and they were wrong. It's hard to describe. It wasn't that they were glowing or hollow or anything obviously creepy. It was just the way he was looking at me, like he was studying me, sizing me up, but at the same time, it was like he wasn't really seeing me at all. Yeah, it's in the basement, he mumbled. That was the second red flag. Who keeps a couch in a basement? And more importantly, why would someone trying to get rid of a couch make the buyer haul it up the stairs themselves? I hesitated. The air coming from inside the house smelled stale, like old wood and mildew. But underneath that, there was something else. Something rotting. I swallowed, tried to ignore the way my stomach twisted. Can you bring it up? I asked, forcing a laugh. Mark's expression changed. His lips twitched, like he was trying to smile but had forgotten how. His eyes stayed locked on me, unblinking. It's too heavy, he said flatly. My gut screamed at me to leave. I took a slow step back. Maybe I'll come back with a friend, I said casually, already turning. That's when I heard it. A muffled whimper. It was faint, but I knew what I heard. It wasn't the house settling, and it wasn't my imagination. It was a person, a voice, coming from inside the house. I froze. Mark didn't move, didn't blink. My mouth went dry. Who else is here? I asked. Mark's lips twitched again. This time he did smile. Just a little. Just enough to show his teeth. No one. The whimper came again. A little louder. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't the pipes. It was a person, and they were crying. My body took over before my brain caught up. I turned, fast, and started walking back to my truck. Mark moved too. I heard his bare feet slap against the floorboards as he stepped out onto the porch. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I yanked open my truck door and slammed it shut. My hands were shaking as I jammed the keys into the ignition. The truck roared to life, and as my headlights flicked on, I caught a glimpse of Mark in the rearview mirror. He was standing in the middle of the yard, watching me, just standing there, not running after me, not shouting, just watching. I hit the gas and peeled out of there, heart hammering in my chest. I don't remember most of the drive home. My mind was too busy trying to make sense of what happened. The whimper, the smell, the way Mark's face barely seemed to move, like he wasn't used to wearing it. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I checked Craigslist, fully expecting the ad to still be there. It wasn't. It was gone. Not just the listing. Mark's entire account had been deleted. I told myself it was nothing. A weird guy. Maybe a squatter living in an abandoned house. Maybe I'd imagined the whimper. Maybe he was just socially awkward. But it didn't feel like nothing. A few days later, curiosity got the best of me. I drove back to the house. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe to see a moving truck. Proof that Mark really had just been clearing out junk. Instead, I found an empty lot. The house was gone. Not just abandoned. Gone. No rubble. No foundation. No signs that anything had ever been built there at all. Just a patch of dead grass where the house used to be. I still check Craigslist sometimes. I don't know why. Maybe part of me thinks I'll find the ad again, posted under a different name, a different town. I never have. But every now and then, I'll see something similar. Free couch. First come, first served. And I wonder, how many people actually make it out of the basement? Story 2. I was broke. Not that things are tight, kind of broke, but the kind where your stomach growls for hours before you finally admit you can't afford dinner. I was sleeping in my car most nights, showering at the gym, and looking for anything that would get me off the streets. That's how I found the Craigslist ad. Room for rent in quiet neighborhood. $250 per month. Looking for responsible tenant. The price was almost too good to be true, but I didn't have the luxury of skepticism. I messaged the guy, David, and he responded within minutes. Said he was available that evening. The house was out of the way, hidden down a long, cracked driveway lined with trees. It wasn't run down, but there was something off. The porch light flickered, like it was about to burn out, and the air smelled damp. David answered the door before I could knock, like he'd been waiting. "Come in," he said, grinning wide. His teeth were too white, too straight, like he'd bought them in a store. His hair was slicked back, but greasy, like he hadn't washed it in days. I hesitated. Something in my gut told me to turn around, but I was exhausted, desperate. So, like an idiot, I stepped inside. The house was empty. No furniture. No decorations. The walls were bare. The floorboards scuffed and dirty. I tried to play it cool. "You just move in." David chuckled. Something like that. He walked ahead of me, leading me deeper inside. The air was stale, thick with the scent of something rotting. That's when I noticed the locks. Not on the outside of the house, on the inside. The front door had 3 deadbolts, plus a metal latch at the top. There were similar locks on the windows, heavy-duty ones that looked recently installed, like they weren't meant to keep people out. They were meant to keep people in. Why so many locks? I asked, forcing a chuckle. David smiled again. Too wide, too long, for safety. That was all he said before motioning me down a narrow hallway. His shoes didn't make a sound on the wooden floor, like he was gliding instead of walking. The room he led me to was small, claustrophobic, no furniture, except for a thin, stained mattress on the floor. The only window was barred, thick metal crisscrossing the glass. And then I saw it, the closet. The door was slightly ajar, just enough for me to see the thick chain and rusted padlock on the outside. I swallowed hard. What's in there? I asked. David's smile faltered, the first real emotion I'd seen from him. Just storage, he said quickly. Too quickly. Then, a scratch. A long, slow scraping sound from inside the closet. Every muscle in my body locked up. I tried to convince myself I imagined it. Maybe it was a rat. Maybe another scratch. Louder. More deliberate. Something was in there. I nodded, pretending I hadn't heard it. I'll take it, I lied. David's face relaxed, his grin returning. Great, he said. You can move in tonight. My skin went cold. I backed toward the door, my pulse thudding in my ears. Actually, I should grab my stuff first. David tilted his head. Oh, I can help you bring it in. I forced a smile. It's in my friend's place. For a second, we just stood there. Then, David stepped between me and the hallway, blocking the exit. Leaving so soon, he whispered. The way he said it made my skin crawl. I turned, lunged for the door. My hand shook as I fumbled with the handle. Locked. I spun back. David was still standing there, watching me. Then, the scratching inside the closet turned into pounding. Thump, thump, thump. I heard something muffled. A voice. A voice. Someone was in there. I stopped thinking. I reached up, unlatched the final lock, and yanked the door open. I ran. I ran like the devil was clawing at my heels, my heartbeat thundering in my ears. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I could hear David's footsteps behind me, fast and silent. I reached my car, nearly ripping the door off its hinges as I threw myself inside. David stopped at the porch, just standing there, watching. I sped off, gravel kicking up behind me. I didn't stop until I was miles away. The next day, I checked Craigslist. The listing? Gone. I reported it, but the police didn't seem to care. No one had heard of David. There were no records of the house ever being rented. And the worst part? A week later, I checked Craigslist again. Same ad, same price, different name. And that's when I realized David wasn't looking for a tenant. He was looking for something else. Story 3. I was broke. Not, I can't afford Starbucks broke. I mean counting coins for instant noodles broke. Rent was due. My car needed gas. My stomach was eating itself. So, when I saw a Craigslist ad for a simple house-sitting job, $500 for one night, I jumped on it. The guy, Mr. O'Connell, sounded normal enough over the phone. Polite but brief. Make sure no one enters the house while I'm away. Easy money. That was it. No cleaning. No pet sitting. Just be there. It felt too good to be true, but my desperation smothered my better judgment. I arrived just before sunset. The house was massive, sitting alone on a hill with no neighbors in sight. An eerie kind of loneliness hung over the place, the kind that makes you keep checking over your shoulder. Inside, it was pristine. Too pristine. Modern furniture, expensive looking decor, but no family photos. No clutter, not even a dish in the sink. It felt staged, like a house meant to be seen, not lived in. Mr. O'Connell was waiting for me in the foyer. He was tall, maybe early 50s, with hollow eyes and a nervous energy that made my skin prickle. Doors stay locked. Windows stay shut. Do not answer the door for anyone. I almost laughed, expecting company. He didn't smile, just handed me a small black tablet. Security system. Check the cameras if you hear anything. I'll be back in the morning. Then he was gone. I locked the door behind him, my fingers lingering over the deadbolt longer than necessary. 11:47 p.m. I was on the couch, flipping through channels, my mind drifting between exhaustion and paranoia. The house was too quiet, the kind of quiet where you hear your own blood moving. Then, a knock, soft, deliberate. I sat up, pulse thudding. Then a voice, too casual, too familiar. "Hey, I know you're in there." My mouth went dry. I hadn't told anyone where I was. I crept to the peephole. My breath hitched. A man stood on the porch. He wasn't knocking anymore, just standing there, smiling. The kind of smile that stretches too wide, that doesn't reach the eyes. I backed away from the door, moving on instinct, like prey realizing too late that it's already been seen. I grabbed the security tablet and pulled up the front porch camera. The screen flickered, then loaded. The man was still there, still smiling. My stomach clenched. I flipped to the backyard camera, and my blood turned to ice. 3 more people, standing behind the house, motionless, smiling. I felt something in my throat. A whimper? A sob? Then, the front doorknob started to turn. Slow. Testing. I fumbled for my phone and dialed Mr. O'Connell. Straight to voicemail. Then, a new message popped up on the tablet. "Don't let them in." My heart nearly exploded. The message was from Mr. O'Connell. How did he know? Was he watching me? The screen flickered again. The backyard camera went black. I jolted as a bang slammed against the glass. I turned, my breath a ragged thing in my chest. One of them, a woman with long black hair, was at the window. Her face was wrong, too stretched, too long, like someone had pulled the edges of her mouth too far. I choked on a scream and stumbled back. Then, as if a switch had flipped, they all moved. Not toward the house. Away. They walked into the dark, disappearing into the tree line like they were never there. I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch, gripping the tablet like a lifeline, watching the cameras until dawn broke over the horizon. Then I bolted. I didn't text Mr. O'Connell. Didn't call. Just drove until the house was nothing but a fading memory in my rearview mirror. A week later, curiosity is a sick thing. It eats at you, even when you know you should let something die in the dark. I checked Craigslist. The ad, back up. Same pay, same job, different contact name. I didn't report it. I just never looked back.